Hello viewers and welcome to my new video. This time I'm going to be talking about the songwriting process when you write songs together as a band. So far I've talked about common vision, finding band members, finding a rehearsal space, and once you've got all these areas covered, it's time to cover the subject of songwriting. And this is really important because, you know, in a lot of bands this is really done differently. Okay, so there isn't one size fits all approach here, but what I've got to say to you is, for example, if you are a songwriter and then another band member is also a songwriter, then you may want to agree on how you're going to approach the process of songwriting. For example, you may agree that when writing an album, you're going to have a 50-50 split, and to be honest, that's exactly what I did with my mate Andy, who was a bass player in a band called Manifest that we sort of put together. Both him and I were songwriters, and we had a lot of creative flow and lots of inspiration to write. So in order not to step on each other's toes, we basically agreed on a fair split, 50-50. I'm going to say for a 10-song album I would write 5 songs and he would write 5 songs as well. So that way we avoided any arguments about who's writing, whether somebody has like sort of more room to write. And to be honest, it's not necessarily a bad thing if one of you has more inspiration at one particular time, or they are more in that kind of creative flow, and they are able to produce more songs. That's also fine, and if you are at that level and you can agree, okay, that's fine, I will just write what I can, and if you can write more right now, write more, And I suppose that all depends, because if you are signed to a label, for example, and you have a contract that say in 3 years you're gonna release 3 albums or something along those lines, then obviously you're on a tight schedule, so you need to be thinking about these things. And if one of you sort of runs out of inspiration or that kind of thing, and another person can actually write, that's actually a positive thing, because you've got those songs and you've got that kind of the work going there. Another common thing in bands is that there is only one single songwriter, and that's also often the case. There will be one person who actually writes all the songs and song structures, and then the rest of the band just sort of performs those songs. So i.e. someone wrote them and they brought them to a rehearsal room, and then they explain to the rest of the band members the main song structure, and then the rest of the band sort of follows on from there. And yes, people usually chip in with some little ideas here and there, but overall the key songwriter is that one person. Another creative method of songwriting is actually jamming. So spontaneous jam sessions are very good for coming up with some very good ideas. So actually you can get in a room together and you just start jamming, come up with a riff, or a drummer may come up with a beat, and then the rest of you just kind of join in and you kind of start jamming. And what's really good to do, to have some kind of a recording device at that point, and actually to be able to record what you've done, because more likely than not you will forget, it will sort of escape from your head after you've done it, because it's kind of spirit of the moment, if you like. So when you get that inspiration and you get that flow, it's very important to capture that. If from the get-go your idea is that you want to be making money from your music, or collecting your royalties or that kind of thing, then obviously you also have to agree on the split. And bands split their money differently, like in an official way. It could be the official way that you get paid royalties, or it could be an unofficial way where, you know, if you get any money from, say, selling your CDs, merch, or things like that, you know, then you need to agree how you're gonna do it. But today I'm not talking about selling merch. Today I'm talking specifically about songwriting. So when it comes to, for example, the collection of royalties, you know, if you're a songwriter or a performer on that song, then obviously you all need to agree how that split is going to work for you. When it comes to songwriting techniques, these days you have a plethora of options really out there, and I just wanted to touch upon a few of them because, you know, I'm a big fan of, you know, implementing technological advancements into this process, you know, because things are changing, you know. And when I was starting in a band, you know, back in the 90s, things were very different. You know, we had to get together, you know, we have to actually live sort of relatively close to each other from a geographical perspective to be able to get together in a rehearsal room to practice, you know. And actually, when you think about it, these days, you know, you have so many different options in terms of communicating, you know, online, on the internet. You have things like Zoom, you know, Microsoft Teams or that kind of stuff, Skype, where you can communicate with other people quickly, see them on your screen, you know, and that's all very very easy, you know, to do. So in theory, you know, when I was talking in the last episode about, you know, you finding a rehearsal space, well, actually, you know, these days you could actually put a band together that is kind of that consists of people who don't even live in the same country, never mind the same town or city, you know. And this is actually already happening. I know there are bands out there who have done that, but imagine, you know, if you have some ideas and you can find some, you know, people on the same wavelength as you who don't necessarily live in the same geographical location, you can communicate with them online. You can implement the songwriting process even online like this as well, you know, because say you write a song or a song structure at home, like I do these days as well. For example, using the Easy Drummer, I can write the full song with a drum beat, you know, with a bass guitar, put it all there all together. You know, I could demo my song. I could then send my song, you know, I don't know, put it in a Dropbox or somewhere like, you know, Google Drive, whatever, you know, and a cloud, you know, solution that you might be using. You know, agree with your band members what you're gonna be using. You can actually start working on this together. Or if you write a song together, because then again, it's not just about one person writes one song and the other person or other people write other songs. You might be actually working on the same song together, i.e., you know, joining forces. And actually, you know, I'm gonna write a verse riff and another person is going to write a chorus riff, for example. So again, you know, I've got a great riff here. I could record it, send it to somebody else, and then that person gets the idea and then starts working from there, records their own, you know, addition to what you've done. You know, for example, if you have the same software, you can actually share these things, you can work together, you know, and that songwriting process becomes something completely different by the use of technology and the internet, what's available to us these days, to actually having to go physically be in the same space, you know, in a rehearsal room to work on songs. You know, I think both ideas are good, you know, and it depends what you like. And some people, and I, including me, I love working with other people, actually being in that physical space and actually be able to see them and to kind of like bounce ideas of each other at the same time. But sometimes when I'm at home, I might be thinking, I've got this great idea, you know, and, you know, I want to capture it, I want to share it, I want to, you know, and also that could also impact on save you some time as well whilst you're doing this, because when you think about it that way, you know, if I have to wait for my next rehearsal, if my next rehearsal is going to be in a week's time or 2 weeks time, I'm not gonna be able to show it to my band members before then. But you could actually save yourself a lot of time by writing your bit, whatever it might be, and sending it across. And actually that way your band members might already be either coming up with other ideas, or they might start learning the song before you even enter the rehearsal room. And I think that's very key, because you know saving time is extremely important, especially if you want to accelerate the progress of your band. we actually used that same approach at one time when I was actually doing the recording of my band's album, and our drummer actually purchased the same digital audio workstation, and we were able to work on the same project in Dropbox. So for example, I would be doing some mixing, he would be doing some editing at the same time, you know, working on exactly the same project, and kind of, you know, pushing things forward a lot quicker. And we had that sort of working opportunity, you know, that sort of shared working opportunity, and that was really fantastic. So those are my thoughts on songwriting. Please leave me a comment and tell me how you approach songwriting with your own band, or maybe you just do your own solo project or anything like that. And please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, as it really helps me to push it to more people, you know, and more people can watch my videos and find out about what I do. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.